Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric. I got a fun and exciting episode for you guys today because we are playing The Last Job, recently released by Games That Weren't. This is a prototype PlayStation 2 game for a work-in-progress project originally titled The Heist, then retitled The Last Job. This game never came out, it's about 40% complete, and I'm pretty sure most of you have probably never heard of this before. But it's always an awesome time when we get a new build of a prototype game, especially one that never actually saw the market, so this is absolutely so much fun to talk about. Before we get too far involved, it'd be a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined to want to support the channel, you got a Patreon link down below as well. But right off the top, The Last Job is definitely not a complete game, and it's going to take you a little bit to figure out what you're supposed to do, because you really don't get too many prompts or instructions in the game. Off the first level here, we need to pickpocket one of the guards to get a bank key card off of him so we can get into the mailroom in the back. Well, that is definitely a lot easier said than done, because you're going to see on that map at the bottom left hand corner all of the different viewports of all of the different people in the bank, as well as a heat level. If you screw up and push the wrong button and bump into somebody, that heat level is going to go up, and if you try to pickpocket one of the guards while you're on camera, you're instantaneously going to be flagged as obviously a criminal, and they're going to draw their weapons and you're going to have to restart the level. And even though this is not done, at least in the beginning of the game, it is quite intriguing. Definitely has a lot of Michael Mann Heat vibes, a very colorful, bright heist movie versus kind of that gritty nature. And you'll see here, once we finally get to the right guard, if you press X, you get a 3-button QuickTime event. If you hit the buttons in the right order fast enough, you're going to go ahead and get that key card. But now we need to figure out where to actually take it. And I will say this game definitely had a lot of promise. I love the concept, kind of feels a little bit like Hitman involved in here as well, without all of the assassinations. You will see that sometimes the heads up display just goes to complete corruption, so you want to move a little bit slow throughout the game just to make sure you can actually see that heat map in the bottom left hand corner. Once we actually find the mailroom here, there's a few tests we need to do, and I will say the guard's AI routines are definitely not fully finished, because we basically walk right past this guard multiple times and he fails to notice us until the last possible minute when I don't want to actually be noticed. Because you'll see here, when that gaze is orange, that means he can detect you, but he totally just does not notice we're standing there, which is pretty funny in its own right. But it's so awesome when new games are preserved, and this is something that you can go download and play today. I'm playing this on PCSX2 and I am enhancing the graphics, but I will say for PlayStation 2 release, even at the stock settings, it is a very attractive looking game. So right here, now that we found the computer, the next step is we need to press X and hold it until we can install a modem so that the computer system in the bank can be hacked from the exterior. Because how this game works is you are part of a crew, and when you complete your task, you'll basically go back in time a little bit and see your other crew members' component of the heist. If you do a better job, it's going to be easier moving forward. If you do a little bit of a haphazard job, it's going to be slightly harder. Now the last thing we need to do is find a package with weapons in them so that we can bring them into a different part of the bank. And do not be concerned if you can't actually find this box. It is quite hard to find, and that's because it doesn't actually appear on screen. This is an area in which I absolutely got stumped for like 15-20 minutes just wandering around trying to find the right box until I realized it wasn't actually the box I was looking for. But finally I did get spotted, so I need to do it all over again. And that is the thing about prototype games. You're going to have to work a little bit harder to find the fun in them because they are unfinished and some things are just not demarcated the way you would expect them to be. We'll hide behind these boxes here and you'll see that I never get a prompt to actually search this area. But if we go a little bit further back, we can search different boxes and see. Now everything seems to be in the same spot every single time I look for it, but it could possibly change itself up. So make sure you definitely take a better peek. We got $6,495 out of that box, a very large amount of mail. Definitely do not do that in real life, but we still need to find that object. And the reality is some of these shelves can be searched even though there's absolutely nothing on them. The first time you search an empty shelf, you're going to think, okay, it allowed me to search, but it's not there. But then suddenly you're going to find the right package that we need. But this game has an interesting soundtrack as well. Go ahead and listen for 45 seconds. I'll come back and show you more levels and talk more about the history of the game. But enjoy. Interesting music, and it definitely has a good vibe for the game, but it's hard to say if it's even the complete music or maybe just something that was a placeholder. But there's other maps in the area. If you go to the start menu and you hit triangle versus X, you're going to get an entire level select. If you see at the bottom of the screen level not found, that means it's missing files, but these really aren't playable levels. These are going to be levels that you can kind of just traverse through with the different controller inputs and see what would have been. They are models. There's really nothing to interact with. Your character doesn't load in. You're just getting a sense of what the game would have been. And that's the fun thing about prototypes and my enjoyment of them for the most part. Seeing something that was work in progress and something that you could have played. Because it's a bummer this thing got canceled, because as based on the first level in the bank, I would love to see what this game would have been like had it seen release. I'm not saying it would have been some hidden gem or 10 out of 10 game, but it would have been a fun addition to the PlayStation 2 library. But again, leave me a comment down below and tell me, have you ever heard of The Last Job before? I'm assuming most of you haven't. And what you're seeing so far, is this something that would have been interesting for you to play back in the day? Because I really do like the idea of having an entire crew on a heist and having to play each different crew member's role to be able to actually succeed. Think Ocean's 11, except only with 4 people for the most part. And there's definitely a lot of diverse levels in here that you can take a look at, like this airstrip. There's mansions, there's all sorts of other areas. So clearly this was basically structured like a movie where you're trying to pull off one last job, pun very much intended, based on the title, and get away with it. And like pretty much every other heist movie you've ever watched, I'm sure a lot of things got in your way and went wrong throughout the entirety of this game, because it's not a true heist unless there's at least 2 or 3 double crosses and a couple different disasters leading towards that final culmination of you being successful with the heist in and of itself. And I would love to know what's going on here on the story, why these people are motivated to complete this heist in the first place. But obviously, as like a 40 to 50% completed game, that is just something we're never going to end up getting. And you can definitely tell this is very early, because these cars right here have no textures and barely enough polygons to even look like an actual car. But now that we have that package, you need to bring it to the men's room toilet so we can continue on throughout the game. And I want you to be aware that when you are playing this, there's areas in which you can just completely fall through the floor, but thankfully the areas still seem to be completable even if you're not in the level in and of itself. Because as soon as you walk into the bathroom, you're going to get this loading screen right here, and then you're going to go to the member of your crew that was on the other end of that modem that's going to hack everything. You start in a vehicle. The minute you walk out, you fall directly through the floor, but if you just keep moving around and rolling around, the text will progress itself. He'll do all of his hacking basically even though he's not in the level, and then it'll transition to the next part of the game. So definitely fight for your progress here. Make sure you do everything you can to try to progress, because you will get into this top area, and you'll see here some of the dialogue definitely seems tempy and maybe a little bit over the top. But in this area, we need to drop different smoke grenades into the guard rooms to knock the guards out, to make it even easier for the next member of the crew to come in and complete his job. And I think from a gameplay standpoint, that's a very interesting, unique, and progressive way to do things. Having to play every single character's role and do it correctly so that you can complete this initial area. And as far as the vents are concerned, if you've seen one, you've seen them all. Definitely some Die Hard vibes up here as well in the air ducting system. But The Last Job just seems to have a lot of promise, and it's always awesome when people who have these rare prototypes share them with everyone else. You know, I'm always advocating for that on the channel. Anytime I have something that I can share, I absolutely do so. So big credit to everyone involved in getting this project out here. It gives us one more game to play on PlayStation 2, even if it is one of those titles that's definitely not complete. And there is a decent amount of fun to be had here. Just be careful of the cameras in the air vents, because they are absolutely everywhere. But The Last Job definitely is one of those titles. Not many people know much about it, but you can go and play it today. Not sure if it works on real hardware yet or not. I haven't tested that. I just use PCSX2 here, and that's what I recommend pretty much everyone do. But play this game, give it a go, leave me your thoughts down below, and just be happy that we have one more PlayStation 2 prototype that we can check out today. Short of that, we're done. I'm going to try to pickpocket this guard one more time, fail at it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.